On the news, appeal court affirms Bashir Machina as APC candidate for Yobe North Senatorial District. Electoral umpire INEC suffers setback as hoodlums destroy voters' card in Ebonyi State. And federal government issues travel advisory to Nigerians traveling to the US and UK, warns of passport and money theft. It's a pleasure to have you join us on News Now. I am Simisola Ajigun. With the 2023 general elections about 89 days away, President Muhammadu Buhari has reaffirmed his commitment towards a free, fair and transparent elections as well as smooth transition to power. The president gave the assurance in Abuja at the official opening ceremony of the 2022 second ordinary session of the Parliament of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. The president further said Nigeria is committed to peace and political stability in the sub-region, adding that the country will support efforts that will lead to the restoration of democratic governance in Mali, Guinea and Burkina Faso. Speaking at the event, the Speaker of the ECOWAS Parliament, Sidi Tunis, says the battle against climate change is far from being won, just as he urged various governments in the region to join forces together in weathering the storm.
Continue to work stronger as a community, and we have remained strong and resilient and shining example of regional integration and solidarity.
I am, however, convinced that to deliver for our own people, we must engage deeply and work together towards a shared future for each of our countries and the ECOWAS region as a whole. We must collectively demonstrate the political will to tackle these challenges together, bearing in mind that the success of one state is bound up in others succeeding as well.
Bashir Machina has been affirmed as the candidate of the All Progressives Congress APC for the Yobe North Senatorial District. Delivering judgment on the appeal filed by the President of the Senate, a three-member panel of the Appellate Court, led by Justice Monica Dongban Mensem, held that the primary election conducted by the party on June 9 is invalid as it was in breach of the Constitution. The court further ruled that the APC is to pay the sum of 1 million naira to Bashir Sharif as cost. During the primary election organized by the party in May 2022, Machina won unopposed, but Ahmed Lawan, Senate President, was said to have participated in another primary election organized by the APC after he contested the party's presidential ticket unsuccessfully in June. Machina was reportedly asked to step down for Lawan, but he insisted that he will not withdraw for the Senate President. The Office of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, in Iboko, Easy local government area of Ebonyi State, has been set ablaze by unknown gunmen. According to a statement by Onyeka Ugochi, the resident electoral commissioner, REC for Ebonyi State, the office was set ablaze around 10 a.m. on Sunday by unidentified persons. He said although no casualties resulted from the attack, the main building and all the movable and immovable items inside it were completely destroyed. The official further revealed that this is the third attack on the local government office in less than 3 weeks, following similar attacks in Ogun and Osun states on November 10, 2022. Well, to speak more on this development, Omoru Aigbe, Senior Program Monitoring and Evaluation Officer at the Center for Democracy and Development, joins me now. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, on November 11, INEC Chairman Mahmoud Yakubu put the number of INEC officers attacked by hoodlums at 50 across 21 states in Nigeria. Help us understand the rationale behind these attacks.
Okay, thank you very much, and thanks for having me. What has happened is sincerely regrettable. I earlier noted that when the Osun case happened and Ogun, I noted that I feel personally that it was a distraction to distract security personnel away from the southeast, which had the highest number before that time of attacks on annex facilities. You knew in Imo, in Ibonyi, in Enugu, those attacks before now, like a year, 6 months ago. Those attacks continue to escalate until there was at some point like a ceasefire, so they just stopped. But soon, hitting Ogun and Osun was a signal that the southwest of Ogun was not necessarily the attention. I have the feeling at that time that it was a distraction for personnel to move to a certain location so they could then do exactly what they wanted to do. And now it's clear, validating my initial perception. I think what they want to do is to create an ungovernable state that the Southeast will continue to be this state that will not have elections. And before 2017, in the election in Anambra State, there was a lot of stress about the election holding that state. And of course, in the last election in Anambra in 2021, there was also that all level of threat that the election would not hold in the Southeast. And it's becoming clearer that concerted efforts must be put in place, particularly to ensure that polls don't get in the Southeast, specifically.
Now, how much do you think these attacks will have on the success of the 2023 elections?
That's where the folks who are doing all of this job may have the intention to stop elections, but the sincerity is that they can't stop the election. They can't. Rivers have not been impacted on. What has been impacted, like INEC has said, are cubicles, the voting cubicles, the tables and chairs, and some of these facilities that can be replaced between now and maybe 6 months. We are not saying that we continue to replace those facilities good for the election. However, the sensitive materials have not been impacted. The election will go on as planned. But if the election does not hold in some of these areas, will it invalidate the election in other areas? Most likely no. Most likely no. Turnout in another election was about 10% in 2022, in 2021, and the electoral management body went ahead to declare the election and return the candidate. Now in the state of Anambra, we have a governor duly elected by less than about 10% of the registered voters. It's going to be a weird situation where people continue to impact on any facility, thinking the election will not hold in those areas. So if election holds in other areas, it will be at their own detriment. I would suggest that rather than impact on any facility, sensitize your people to vote in the direction you want an election to go. Vote is the only means to either keep a government or you sack any government. If you need any government to come on board, then you vote. And if you don't want a specific official or government representative to be in the name of affairs, you vote. So rather than engage in violent negotiation, why don't you engage in voting negotiation? I think that voting, people coming out en masse to vote on election day in February and in March of 2022 is the right way to go. Destruction of any properties or any facility will not stop the election. In any case,
the Senior Program Monitoring and Evaluation Officer, Center for Democracy and Development. Thank you very much for your time and contribution. Moving on, the federal government has warned Nigerians traveling to the United States and Europe to take extra precaution with their belongings. The Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, at a news conference in Abuja, explained that the advisory was prompted by attack on Nigerians in London and the stealing of their belongings, including passports. The government said many Nigerians have been victims of theft of money and passports in the U.S. and the United Kingdom. The minister said the advisory was necessary to protect Nigerians traveling to these countries. The federal government has said that passengers on the Abuja-Kaduna train route must register their phone numbers and national identification number (NIN) at the point of ticket purchase. The minister made this known to journalists on Sunday at the Rigasa train terminal in Kaduna shortly after a brief inspection of the Abuja-Idu train station and the Rigasa-Kaduna terminal, respectively. Sambo also disclosed that the number of daily trips will be reduced and moves have been made to beef up the number of security personnel, including deployment of high-tech security apparatus to boost security. This comes weeks after the Minister of Transportation, Muazu Sambo, announced that train services on the Abuja-Kaduna rail line will resume in November, saying adequate security had been put in place to ensure the safety of passengers.
We have introduced a new system before you buy a ticket. Your purchase of a ticket requires you to provide a phone number and a national identification number. In order to profile, because that is the beginning of the security checks. So at any point in time when a train moves from one station to another, we know who and who are on board. If you don't have an NIN, you are not going to board our train. It's as simple as that. If you are a minor, an adult will pay for you, will register for you. And an adult can only register for not more than 4 minors. Now, we want to give sufficient time for the Nigerian public to listen to this, to to assimilate this new system. So if you start tomorrow, a lot of people will be disgruntled. Why didn't they tell us that this is the new way of doing it? Why didn't they give us adequate time to do it? So we want to give you adequate time. Definitely between 3, 4, 5 days, certainly not more than a week. I will tell you that whatever is humanly possible to put to secure the lives of the users of this service have been put in place. And we will continue to upgrade it. We'll be monitoring it on a daily basis and improve on wherever we find some snags.
The Inspector General of Police, Usman Baba, has commissioned the Police Intelligence and Surveillance Center built by the administration of Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike to provide technical support to the police and other security agencies in the state. The IGP, who hailed the governor for making the job of the police easy in the oil-rich South-South region through the provision of key infrastructure, appealed to other state governors to provide similar facilities to make policing easier. Wike, in his speech, also reiterated his administration's commitment to the protection of lives and property in the state, saying more investment will be made in providing security infrastructure. The facility, with at least 17 offices and conference rooms, is set to be equipped with the latest computerized security systems that can bring all parts of Rivers to one point of view.
I want to say it on good authority that since you came, we have had peace, we have had good relationship with the police command. Unlike what used to happen before, where in 1 year we had over 8 commissioners of police. I thank you for not bringing politics in security issues. That is why today, Rivers people can count that this is one of the safest states. What we have done here, when you go in, you see by yourself, and I promise you, we are going to replicate another of this in the next 6 months to make sure that we are going to fight crime. I've also approved the purchase of 10 armored vehicles to support our police command to fight crime.
This project is a great boost to my main agenda of policing Nigeria in this contemporary time, which is in tandem with providing international best practice of using technology of this center in collaboration with our cybercrime unit to tackle all forms of crimes and other criminalities. We will do the needful to discharge our duties as expected. To whom much is given, much is expected. Technology will make a lot of things easier. There is going to be 247 patrol with ease because the whole of Port Harcourt will be under surveillance and will be captured in a sitting position in an air-conditioned room.
Now, with more than 14 million Nigerians hooked on illicit substances, the Justice Development and Peace Center of St. Agnes Catholic Parish, Maryland, has organized an anti-drug campaign to sensitize youth on the dangers of substance abuse. Organizers of the event explain that the campaign focuses on youth enlightenment as well as techniques to recover them from addictions. More details in this report. In the next 8 years, the use of illicit substances among world's population would have gone up by 11%, with about 40% of that increase projected to come from Africa. Alarmed by this report, the Justice Development and Peace Center of St. Agnes Catholic Parish has put together this lecture to sensitize youths on the dangers of illicit substances.
Some of the youths that lost their job as a result of COVID-19 and are idle, they just believe that instead of staying idle, they should go by means of making themselves happy. Every year, we organize anti-drug campaign because we have noticed that it's one of the things that the youth is using to call themselves off from normalcy. It's what is disturbing youths by their mental health. So as a result, every year we organize the campaign to ensure that our youths are being spoken to.
Highlighting some of the challenges that leads to drug abuse, such as depression, peer pressure, as well as lack of access to information, they say all hands must be on deck to prevent more occurrences, as well as rescue those already affected.
Challenges come as a result of the addiction that is affecting one cognitive process of thinking. So, and what we tend to know is that the psychoactive substances are stimulants that altered the functionality of the way people think, the way they feel, and the way they behave. And if that is a fact on what psychoactive substance does, then it has an effect on the mental stability.
The solution is let there be conscious effort to give information to our people, especially the caregivers, the parents, give information to the children as to the danger of call drug abuse what it is.
The NDLEA, in its June 2022 report, disclosed that about 3 million Nigerians are suffering from drug use disorders. This, the agency says, accounts for some of the crimes and chaos recorded in the country.
A family that has a drug-dependent person is a diseased family, and that family would have a lot of issues. The community that has people who are taking drugs is also a problematic community. So the truth is that we all have to see it as a common problem, a universal problem, where we have to come together, bring our resources together to ensure that we tackle it adequately, and we all can benefit from the rewards of our joint collaboration in tackling the drug problem in Nigeria.
While reiterating its commitment to curb the spread of illicit substances in the country, the agency says engaging in activities such as reading, games, and sports competition are healthier lifestyles that help overcome challenges that could lead to substance abuse. Simisola Adigun, TV360, Lagos. We'll take a break here, but still to come. NCDC warns of possible COVID-19 infection rise amid the Yuletide season. Details of the story and more right after this break. Welcome back. Now here is a recap of some of our top stories tonight. Bashir Machina has been affirmed as the candidate of the All Progressives Congress APC for the Yobe North Senatorial District. Delivering judgment on the appeal filed by the President of the Senate, a three-member panel of the Appellate Court led by Justice Monica Dongban Mensam held that the primary election conducted by the party on June 9 is invalid as it was in breach of the Constitution. We also told you that with the 2023 general election about 89 days away, President Muhammadu Buhari has reaffirmed his commitment towards a free, fair and transparent elections as well as smooth transition of power. The president further said Nigeria is committed to peace and political stability in the sub-region, adding that the country will support efforts that will lead to the restoration of democratic governance in Mali, Guinea and Burkina Faso. Well, in case you missed any of our news bulletins or for more updates, to log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, we're at TV360 Online. In COVID updates, the Director General of the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, Ifedayo Adetifa, has predicted that Nigeria will likely see an increase in COVID-19 cases and a decrease in hospitalization over the holiday season this year. Adetifa, in a recent interview, claimed that the increase in travel over the holiday season might result in a rise in cases. Speaking further, Adetifa said although the Omicron variant was the dominant strain in the country, vaccination provided some degrees of immunity. Beijing authorities have eased antivirus rules in scattered areas but affirmed China's zero-COVID strategy on Monday after crowds demanded President Xi Jinping resign during protests against controls that confine millions of people to their homes. The government made no comment on the protest or criticism of Xi, the most widespread display of opposition to the ruling Communist Party in decades. There was no official word on how many people were detained after police used pepper spray against protesters in Shanghai and struggled to suppress demonstrations in other cities, including the capital, Beijing. We'll take another short break here and return with more stories and business. Stay with us.
Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal.
How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
President must see himself as the President of the Federal Republic.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places. The Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On TV360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts, and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians say in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
TV360, dissecting the issues.
Welcome back. Abisola Adebayo is on standby with business updates. What's new, Abisola?
Thank you very much, Simisola. Welcome to Business News. Nigeria's financial and transportation sectors led the list of the fastest growing sectors in the third quarter of 2022, recording a growth of 41.59% and 12.7% respectively. This is according to the Gross Domestic Product report of the third quarter of 2022 released by the National Bureau of Statistics. According to the report, the Nigerian economy expanded by 2.25% in real terms year-on-year in the third quarter of 2022, largely due to positive movement in the non-oil sector. However, compared to the previous quarter, which recorded 3.54%, the growth was at a slow pace due to local and international constraints. Between 2010 and 2014, Nigeria's oil and gas industry generated 47% of government revenues. This was revealed by the World Bank in its November 2022 Public Finance Review report on Nigeria. In the report, the World Bank explained that oil revenues have historically accounted for the largest share of Nigeria's public revenues, adding that the share had also declined significantly to an average of 36.6% between 2015 to 2020. However, in contrast to the success of the oil and gas industry between 2010 and 2014, Nigeria's Central Bank Governor Godwin Emefiele recently announced that the country's crude oil sales proceeds into its foreign reserves are down to zero. Well, we'll take a break now and return with a review of the stock market. Nigeria's equities market on Monday recorded its first negative close since the monetary policy rate hike to 16.50%. The market decreased by 0.25%, closing at 47,436 basis points. No thanks to stocks like Better Glass, Coa, Jais Bank, and other major laggards on the list today. Industrial goods and consumer goods stock Better Glass and Nichols were champions on the laggards counter today, leading the table with a combined ₦4.41 loss. On the flip side, as our gainers list for today, Prestige and NEM Insurance led the gainers counter with a combined 42 kobo increase. Meanwhile, our market summary sees 279 million units of shares valued at 1.5 billion naira exchanging as in 3,781 deals. Despite the fact that trade ended in the negative today, the general market seems bullish. Although much of the gains are attributed to heavyweight tickers, analysts say they expect the overall positive sentiment to prevail and the market to close in the positive region all through the week. So hopefully tomorrow the market will be in the positive region. Moving on to the foreign scene, the FTSE, the Dow Jones and the Nikkei unfortunately are all in the negative. London's FTSE slipped on Monday with energy and mining stocks leading broad-based losses as investors globally fretted over China's economic outlook following rare protests in the country against the strict COVID-19 restrictions. Wall Street's main indexes also fell today amid worries about protests in major Chinese cities against strict COVID-19 policies, although gains in Amazon helped limit losses as Cyber Monday sales were set for a record. And it's the same story for Japanese stocks Nikkei as it recorded a 0.42% decline at the close of trading. That's all on stock market reports. Back to Simisola for the rest of the news.
Well, thank you, Abisola. On the foreign scene, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has warned of new Russian missile attacks on his country, urging defense forces and citizens to be prepared to withstand a new week of strain on the power grid. The warning on Sunday came as snow fell in Kyiv and temperatures hovered around freezing point with low fog forecast overnight. Zelensky said the coming week could be as difficult as the previous week when attacks on electricity infrastructure subjected Ukrainians to the most acute power cuts since Russian troops invaded in February. In sports, Ghana has defeated South Korea 3-2 in their World Cup encounter on Monday to keep their World Cup hopes alive. The result takes Ghana into second in Group H on 3 points and leaves Paulo Bento's side facing an early exit. The West African nation, who lost their opener to Portugal in a 3-2 defeat, have struggled to gain a foothold in the game. That's all on news now at this hour. Many thanks for watching. I'm Simisola Adigun. Bye for now.